Hello everybody, welcome. I'm just about to pack my kiln, get ready for a glaze firing, and I'm just preparing the shelves and of the kiln. So just join me for that. Let's bring the camera in a bit. This is my converted gas kiln. You can see the burners down there. Anyway, I'm in here and I'm just your kiln shelves. It's a good idea to prepare them from time to time, just to check them because of little bits that fall onto them, maybe a little bit of glaze, maybe a bit of roughness that you need to. And if you can get one of these, if you haven't got one of those, a smaller piece of carborundum. This is a piece of a shelf that was, in fact it's this shelf here. There's the corner piece that was on the end here. But this actually is very, very hard. But anyway, get them cleaned off of any deposits or bits of glaze. Okay, and then I've got mixed up in here some backwash, which is just china clay and alumina. And now I'm just looking at that and thinking, you don't want to put it on. See, that's a bit thick. I need to add a bit of water to that. So we'll quickly add a little water here, because you don't want to add it put it on too thickly, otherwise it becomes it gets fired on, like a thick layer. So basically, I'm going to take my brush and we're going to just brush liberally over this bottom shelf, okay, until it's done, till it's all covered. Okay, so when I've done that one, I've got another one to do. Let's just move the camera back a touch. I've got one here, and outside one that's I'm just going to put on the chair. So what you want to do with these shelves, what you want to do is, again, go over them like that. Also check the edges of the shelves, that they are clean as well, because you don't want any alumina getting on the edge. Because the alumina can fall down into pots, alright? So having done that, I'm just going to get my spray bottle. You'll find that a shelf is very dry, and when you put the alumina onto the shelf, you can't brush it out very well. So what I do is give it a spray. My spray bottle is not working very well. Okay, so we're first of all just dampening the shelf, okay? Then we're going to take the alumina and china clay here and brush it over the shelf. Okay, so that's what you want to do. Now, when you've finished doing that, okay, you can get a sponge and clean the sides, as I said. All right. So, just wanted to show you what's a simple way just to prepare your kiln shelves for your kiln and how to go about it. Now, if you've got glaze deposits actually on the shelf, they may not want to come off very readily just with a grindstone. You may need to use an angle grinder to attack more stubborn spots. Try, if possible, to avoid hitting the shelf with a hammer and a chisel. If you can avoid that, don't do it, because you might break the shelf. Okay, folks, that's one thing I wanted to show you. And actually, here in the room at the moment, I've got a lot of pots in various places. I've probably got 500 pots in here, as you can see, scattered around all over. Pieces waiting to be glazed and waiting for attention. What I've actually been doing is mixing up some glaze. I've just mixed up a PB white glaze and also a Chino glaze. And right here I've got my this is a useful thing to have. So having mixed my glaze, measured out the powders, the different ingredients, incidentally, something that I do is I write on the outside of the lid the list of ingredients, and make sure you very carefully mark each bucket. Mark the lid and the bucket itself, and I put the recipe actually on the lid, as you can see. But you know, after you've mixed these ingredients, you add water. Be careful not to add too much water. Better less, a little, not quite enough is better than too much, all right? And then you're going to take this, and you can let that slake down for some hours or even overnight. Okay, so we mix the glaze in the bucket like that, and now I'm going to show you what I do over here. As you can see, here I've got a clean bucket, okay? So take your sieve and put it over the top of your bucket. Put the bucket onto your wheel, okay? Now we're going to take the jug and we're going to ladle some of that from that bucket into this sieve. I don't know about you, but I don't like sieving much. It's a chore, isn't it? It's one of those jobs which is, it has to be done, but I don't really like it that much. So, any way to make it happen faster. So I put it on the wheel, and I get the wheel going very, very slowly, you see. About like that. Take one of these. And I'm holding the brush part against the sieve. And you'll find that you can sieve at twice the speed or 3 times the speed using this method than if you were just doing it by hand. Okay, that sieve was nearly full, and you can see it's already gone through. I don't want to have to spend all afternoon out here sieving glaze. I've got a chino glaze to do after this. So you see, with my left hand I'm just keeping that on the surface of the sieve, and with my right hand I'm loading more glaze into the sieve. I wish I'd thought of this years ago. I wish I'd thought of this when I was working for my dad. Now, I tell you what, you know, when I used to work for my dad at Lower Down Pottery, we had a machine that vibrated, and you took the sieve, and the sieve had a hole in the side here, and there was a wing nut on the inside here, and so you clamped the wheel to this vibrating machine thing, and that made the glaze go through quicker. But I think this is even better, to be honest. This is this sieve is an 80 mesh. Well, you see, we're getting through this already pretty quickly. Now, when I get to the end of a bucket of glaze, I like to clean it out. So I go down to my local cheap shop and I get one of these. So I take one of these, clean out the bucket as best as I can. Okay, there it is. Just a little bit more to do here. You don't want to have this going too fast, for obvious reasons. You know what, I'm wondering, yeah, it's, the level is already high in the bucket, so this last amount is not going through really. There we are. Now there's many different things you could use to push the glaze through, but you know what? This is the best thing that I have discovered for pushing glaze through a sieve. The most effective. Okay folks, there it is, it's all sieved. Now maybe you're thinking, oh my goodness, Simon, that is far too complicated for me to do. I couldn't possibly mix my own glaze. I'd much rather go and buy my own glaze. Well, you can go and buy your own glaze if you've got money to burn. But you know, the cost of buying ready-made glazes compared to making up your own glaze is such a drastic contrast. You can save yourself such a lot of money by making up your own glazes. And you know, these glazes, they don't, this glaze for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 ingredients. That's all you do. Weigh them out on a scale. Weigh your glaze ingredients out on a scale like this, carefully. Put them into the bucket, add your water, mix it around, put it through the sieve. That's not exactly very complicated, is it? I don't think so. I'll give you a tip though, and that is, as you add the ingredients to the bucket, you tick them off as you do it, okay? You tick each ingredient off as you go. So in case the telephone rings in the middle and you get called away, you come back to this half an hour later and you look at your list and you think, where was I? You'll see from the ticks what you've put into the bucket. As it goes into the bucket, it's ticked, but not until. All right, if you stick to that rule, you shouldn't have any problem. So there you go, folks. Please visit my website, simonleachpottery.com, and check out auction we have there. Currently we have an auction, a nice little bud vase there. We've also got my workshop schedule for coming up for the next couple of months. You can check out there, and also you can if you go to if you go to Amazon, you'll be able to see I have a book that's coming out in May, It may be out before May actually, but if you go to Amazon, you can see it there. My pottery handbook coming out in May. So it's also mentioned on the website, so you check it out there as well a bit. Okay folks, Simon Leach saying, keep practicing. See you soon. Bye bye.